I go by Prince L. So been traveling for years, probably since what 2018, 2017. So just been traveling, been to different places, Brazil, Colombia, DR, been to Canada as well, and I've been to a lot of different places in the United States. So I've just been well versed in traveling, and then yeah, that's a little bit about me right now. We'll get into more during the show. So as far as my upbringing, as in which aspect, or just so I grew up. I'm in from the DMV, so currently live in DC. And I grew up in a Maryland area, and then I went to school in Baltimore, and so how I got introduced to traveling is I'm a dating coach, right? And one thing I realized while I was doing being a dating coach, I realized that most of the coaches were they were all going overseas. A lot of them would have their boot camps overseas. And I was young at the time, like 21, 22. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. And then I realized the reason why most guys are doing it is because you would go overseas and then your clients would have such an amazing experience overseas because you're a foreigner and you're a new guy. So it'll be significantly easier. So like it was to be a great boot camp experience. So I did that and I took my first trip to where I think it was DR. So I went with a couple of my friends there, and then I went to Colombia after that, and then from there I just always travel, try to go to at least one country every year. But Brazil, I've gone back twice, and I'm about to go to Colombia in October. So that's how I kind of got into it. We're gonna talk more about it in the stream. Yeah. Well, this is contrary belief to it's gonna go against passport bros, but I believe all women are the same everywhere. But one thing I truly believe when it comes to dating, I believe logistics and location is everything. For example, is once I used to live like an hour away from a major city, right? It was a lot harder to get women when you live an hour away. But when you lived in the major city, it was a lot easier. So then I realized that too, like when you go to other countries, because when you come to another country, you're going to be in a major city, and then you already seem as higher value because one, you look different, especially if you're a brother, and then two, you're more successful because you have that status, you have more money than local currency, so the women are naturally going to act more feminine to you. So that's why I really believe. I believe location matters. So, and then the current dating market in America, let's be real, man. Dating is not that easy in America. We have some of the like some of the women, like I don't want to say top tier, but like they definitely have more than other countries. They're some of the most educated, some of the most have some of the most money. And what does that end up happening? They end up becoming a lot thicker and then they end up becoming a lot more entitled. So I think when you go to another country, they don't have the same opportunity. So well, there's rich people everywhere. There's rich people in those other countries, but it's different. They don't have the same opportunity as in America. So they're naturally going to be more humble and submissive. But that's why I say I think all women are the same. If you bring them to America over years, they're eventually going to become an American. So yeah. Yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts? What do you think? You can disagree with me too. I don't care. Hmm. Hmm. Because, for example, right? I don't. I mean, I want to go to UK eventually, but why would I go there if I can if I can be in America? I mean, if I'm traveling just specifically to increase my dating options, it don't make sense to go to Europe. So if I want to just go for the scenery and travel, I think that's good. If I'm going on a vacation, I would go to Europe. I would go to Paris. I would go to all these other countries. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Mhm. So, I can go deep down. So, yes, I think all men should increase their finance, their style, and dating. So, I have a concept what I call is the 4Fs: fashion, fitness, features, and finesse. So, finesse is your game, your features. Yeah. So your features is like I have bright white teeth, straight teeth. So like when I go talk to a woman, I'm smiling. And then even like I don't have the best haircut right now, but even having the haircut, your jewelry, how you carry yourself, I think that's features. Your fitness, it makes you look better in a shirt. You if you have a six pack picture, trust me, I get tons of options from that. And then your finance. But when it comes to finance, I think once you make over, let's say 100K or let's say 100K, I don't think your dating option significantly increases in America after 100K unless you get to like the 500K. And then at that point, what you going to be attracting? Gold diggers. So like, I think once a guy hits like maybe 70, 80K, you're fine as long as you're able to take a girl on a date. And then as far as your fashion, like having fashion sets really going to help you out. But I mean, I think the core of this conversation was about Brazil, so we can get into that. What made me come to Brazil? I went to hit all the major countries. I went to go to DR. I personally didn't like DR that much, but I went to Colombia, and then I went to Colombia. It was cool, but I liked Brazil because one of my close friends, we're in the same fraternity. He's very popular on YouTube. You probably seen him, Travelversity, right? So he was living in Brazil for a while, and he would always tell me like, "Yo, bro, you gotta come, you gotta come." Like Brazil's lit. I was seeing what he's posting on his stories, close friends. Like, bro, I gotta get in there. And then one of my other boys, he moved to Salvador Bahia, and this man's like, "Yo, this man wasn't getting too many options in the states," and then he came down to Salvador Bahia, the options like, whew. And so and then another one of my boys, he was learning Portuguese. He never even been to Brazil, but he just kept on talking. So everyone was around me was just talking about Brazil, Brazil, Brazil. And one thing it makes sense. I mean, I'm big on finance, right? If I'm gonna go somewhere, I would want to go somewhere where my dollars travel way farther. So it travels way farther, exactly. And then the average woman there is like the average eight in Brazil is like no, the average like six in Brazil is like an eight, 10 in America. And they're naturally slim fit and they work out. And then also another thing too, I personally didn't like the food in Colombia, but I know Brazilian food is good, so that's why I fell in love with Brazil because like they got the fogo de chao, the steakhouse, man, has all the protein I need. So yeah, I just fell in love with it. And then when I went down there, man, they be choosing. I don't know any Portuguese, man. They just be choosing. It's just how it is. I think it's because I just think you're put in a position where you're a high value dude. It's like being an NBA player in America because an NBA player can change a woman's life. You go to Brazil, you're that same way. You can change her life. Where you been to? Mhm. Nice. Mhm. Yeah, the main joint I'm talking to right now, she's actually Lebanese. She's only been here for like 4 years, so she's a Middle Eastern chick. And I mean, I've came to terms where I think if I want to, I don't know what I'm going to do in the future, man. I'm still trying to figure it out. If I want to have a long term relationship in America, I'm thinking like she might have to probably be Middle Eastern. I'm not really that. I'm not really that. I don't really go for Asians like that, but Middle Eastern Asian might be the best case if you want a long term relationship in America. But we still trying to figure that out. I mean, I love me some Latin women, but I don't, they be starting off from a young age. Um, as far as Brazil, I think the best time I haven't been to Carnival, but I've heard great things about Carnival. So if you guys aren't familiar with Carnival, it's like a big festival where everyone is just out on the street, just partying for the whole week. It's lit. Like just go on YouTube and type Carnival. I think if you just want to go experience, have fun for that weekend, I think that is a great weekend. That's usually in February. And then I think I usually try to just go around. I try to go around like holidays. Personally, me. So I think it's like around that May time period is great, or even like March to May. And the reason I say that is because that's their summer season, right? And so when it's summertime, you go to de Janeiro, it's the beach. You're gonna see everything. So it's gonna be food out. It's gonna be girls out. It's just it's an amazing time. So, and I think, but I know it rains a lot from August to like September. I think the rainy season is bad. Like you can't go out during that rainy season. Yeah. So I think yeah, I would go towards that, but you can go any time of year and you you have fun. Yeah. Are we talking about for dating, food? What are we looking at? Okay. Oh, as far as to live there. Okay. Let me give a range of options. So I think the three big main cities are Salvador Bahia, Sao Paulo, and Rio de Janeiro. So I think Rio de Janeiro is it's it's a fun city. It's a beach, but it's a very touristy city. The one thing I don't like about Rio that much is I don't think the infrastructure is that good. But like Colombia, like the infrastructure is really good, so the cribs are really nice. So if you want to have a good place to live in Rio, I think you'd go to like a place called Bear de Juca. So that has like more modern, like the American scale of living. And so I think that's a great city if you want to just have fun. I think Sao Paulo is a more modern city, so the infrastructure looks better. So if you want to kind of live like an American, you can go there, and actually you'll meet a lot of like professional women, like lawyers, doctors. Like when I was out there, I was meeting like people who work for big companies like Accenture, Deloitte. So if you want to meet like a regular, even a successful woman that you possibly have a relationship with, I think that's a great area, and the infrastructure is good. I personally didn't like I can't say I didn't like it. They party crazy there. Like that's probably the biggest party city I've ever been to in my life. But I I don't think I wouldn't go back to Sao Paulo personally, me. And then Salvador Bahia, especially if you're a brother, you want to maximize your dating option and you love like black women, darker skinned women, or like Afro Latinas, Salvador Bahia, you're gonna make a killing. Like all my friends there, they talk about it, they love it. I can't tell you exact places where to live there, but but I've heard them say a lot of good things. I'm gonna check it out one of these days. And then Florianopolis, if you're into more like paler skinned women, more European looking women, Florianopolis, they say that's heaven for that. Yeah. But if you're strictly just like trying to live overseas in Brazil, I would say I actually think Sao Paulo is going to be your best bet. And then Salvador Bahia, if you're into like, if you're in for dating. Try. I've been there a few times, man. I was there for like a month, not last year, and then I was there for only like a week this year. Yeah. And that's for someone who wants to live there, right? So, I think in let's say I haven't lived there, so I can't talk about that. But I know if I went to get an Airbnb for a week, you could get an Airbnb, a solo one for like maybe 300, 500 if you want to live like a good Airbnb, but you could get something for 300 for a week, which I think that's an absolute steal, bro. And then the only thing is the plane tickets usually like from DC is like 1,000 kind of. If you can get one for 600, that's a good deal. So I think getting there you should probably budget around like a stack, maybe. And then living there, you can if you have an airplane for 700 and stay there for 300, you can stay there for a week. And then while you're down there, man, everything is cheap. Like I was going to like Fogo de Chao restaurants for like $40. So that yeah, like it's crazy. Like I was living bougie. And then but if you just want to eat regular food, you can eat like a full meal for like $10. So like when you down there, you really on a budget, you could spend like three, 400 and be there for a whole week. Um, but honestly, yeah, you could do that. it just depends on your lifestyle. And if you're partying, bro, like let's say you're a drinker. Like I live in DC. If I want to get a drink, it's gonna be $20 a pop. So if you go to Brazil, it's like $3 for that same drink. So I think you can really live a modest lifestyle there. Yeah. Um, I think I spent like when I was there for a month, I think I spent probably I spent like 4 bands. I think that's how much I spent in a month. So and I was wilding, going out every night. I was the Airbnb in Sao Paulo was pretty nice, and then I was eating like restaurants like Fogo de Chao. So, but I mean, I was wilding for like a month, so that's kind of how much I spent. I did like a lot of excursions. So we went to a soccer game. We did a bunch of hiking tours. We went to real Christ Redeemer. So what that is, like one of the big statues, like one of the world wonders. And then I just did a whole bunch of tours. So that's how much I spent and when I was there for 1 month. And the last time I went, I don't think I spent that much. Maybe like 2,000 total, maybe. Yeah. Or oh yeah, I mean, let's say we're going to California for a week. I mean, it's probably 200 a night for a hotel. I mean, you go out, it's probably $40 for a cover. If you want to do excursions, probably gonna be like 300. You'll spend way more overseas. And then let's say you meet a chick and you have to take on a date. I mean, depending how good your game is, you probably might take out for drinks or food. It might be 60 to 100. So I mean, it adds up. Um, there's um there's something called feijoada. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Feijoada is like rice and beans and like some like beef and chicken. It's fire. I liked it. It went right through my body. And then they got a lot of beef and steak. So like I love like the Brazilian steakhouse. That's one of my favorite things to do. I love it. So they have that. You can find that anywhere. I think it's called oh, I can't remember what it's called. It starts with a C. I wish someone would tell me. But they have the Brazilian steakhouse. That's some of the good things to eat. Um, I love acai. The acai in Brazil is crazy. So it's just like I'm gonna say it's like not frozen yogurt, maybe like frozen ice kind of. It's acai. They have it in the States too, but it's fire over there. It's fresh. So like you can eat tons of stuff in Brazil. So the food is fire. I like it, the food in Brazil way better than Colombia significantly. That's one of the reasons I kept on going back. Oh, for sure. For sure. Everything's way more natural. Yeah. I mean, in the States, everything has sugar. I try to eat clean because I work out a lot, but like in the States, some of the stuff we have in the States are legal in other cities. Yeah. Nah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Nah, and one thing I loved about Brazil, everyone is just fit. It's probably because you're walking every day, but also like the food is just way cleaner. So one thing I did love about Brazilians is just they're fit. Yeah, they take the gym serious. I'm gonna say it. I don't. It depends how politically correct you want to get on your channel. I'll be talking. Is it 70%? Um, no, I think I believe I definitely believe I I think that's a fact. I believe it. I mean, what how media is going nowadays. I mean, they're pushing the idea that you don't have to work out. You can be overweight. But yeah, that's just American culture. I don't think a lot of I could be wrong. I don't think a lot of men are that overweight though, because I think we kind of know the repercussion. Oh, you could disagree. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. I mean, we could go into that, but yeah, I definitely agree. I try to shop more at Whole Foods. Yeah, even for tea whitening. Oh, I use tea whitening toothpaste, but I just use put baking soda and hydrogen peroxide. That gets your teeth white, super white. Yeah, but I definitely agree. One thing I recommend for guys who want to get more into fitness is just try and prioritize your protein and try to get like a more lean source, chicken breast, chicken thighs, and just make that to be majority of your meal, and then you can have your carbs on the side. But make sure to have mainly protein and then mainly greens. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. For my protein, I try to make sure I just I go to one specific brand. They don't have too many ingredients in it. That's their whole brand. And then for protein, I use another one that's like it's kind of like basically just milk for real. But my main goal is to try and get like 200 grams of protein a day if I can. Usually I hit like 160, 170. My body weight's what I usually get at. Yeah. Yeah, I just try to get my protein. Trust me, when it comes to when it comes to dating, even being fit over there, like it helps a lot because especially like in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, most people there are fit. So you're competing with the regular man. And then also it's like once I put like my physique on dating apps, it changed transformed my life over on Instagram. Yeah, nah, for sure, for sure, for sure. Um Yeah, but I wouldn't say people are that fashionable. I'm gonna keep it honest. I think honestly as brothers, I think we're some of in America, we're some of the most fashionable people. So when it comes to fashion, you naturally stand out. One thing I would say is because of my fashion sense, a lot of people would say like you don't dress like American. You dress like you're from like France or UK. I'm like, what? Because I try to wear like more tighter fitting clothing so my muscle kind of show and then like my pants aren't that like they're shorter so I can show off my thigh muscles. So apparently they all thought Americans wear like baggy clothes from I guess from like hip hop music, but I can't say like Brazilians have the craziest fashion sense. We yeah, but I think guys in the states are very fashionable. Say that one more time. So daytime, like going on the beach and chilling, that's probably some of the best times. Just go on the beach, chill. You can get someone bring you coconut and some chairs, and it's just nice and relaxing. And then you just see people. People always come up to you. And then the nightlife is I mean the nightlife is crazy. I think Sao Paulo has some of the craziest nightlife I've ever been to in my life. I I thought it was so funny. I met some guys who are from the States down there, one guy who lives in Brazil and then it's like 2, 3 a.m. He says, like, yo, we all about to go to the after party. And then in the States, when someone calls after party, you're just going back to someone's house majority of the time. But we went to an after party and it's like 6 a.m. The sun's coming out and they're like, it's a legit club and they're having a party. And I was like, bro, I can't do this. And then they hit me up the next day at like 1 p.m. Like, yo, bro, we just left. I'm like, yo, y'all, wow, I can't do this. I'm too old. But then even the daytime, there's always things to do. Like you can go to the step. There's the steps. The soccer games are crazy. It was fun as hell. And then you have Christ Redeemer. So that's a great world wonder. I have a drone, so like it was fun. You can't really take drone shots there, but I try to sneak it and then do it. So it's like it's a great view. You can see the whole city. But the daytime, there's tons of things to do. Especially if you just go on any dating app too, you could probably meet a woman that you want to go on a date with too. And then even like I do a thing where I run Instagram ads. And so I usually get a lot of options by doing that. So like I can just go on a date with someone and then you can go to like a fancy restaurant, live, eat good and get food for you and her. And it's only like what, like $40 or even like depending. I mean, that's like the real fancy, like the roof Chris, that'll be like 200, 300 in America. Yeah. So I think it makes sense to go where your dollar is stronger. Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest cheat codes. And then Brazil is just it's huge. So one thing about Brazil, Brazil does have like a very bad language barrier. Like the language is crazy. Like in Mexico, if you go to like a place like Mexico, they're so familiar with Americans that you can kind of get away with some English or they even like know the phrases. So, but in like Rio, like you won't meet too many women who speak um English, maybe just a little bit. In Sao Paulo, you can meet women who are like fluent in English. It's crazy. Like you even meet women who used to live in America. Yeah, it's crazy. But I talk about Rio because that's why I like them. I like that the most. So I think some of the best places is honestly during the daytime. Like one thing I don't think people do as much in the United States is approaching women. You know, guys don't do, but and especially not at the gym. I think that's probably one of like the most searched terms, like how to approach a woman in the gym. And so in Brazil, like you'll be in the gym and a woman just be staring you down because you're new, you're a hot commodity. It's just easy to meet a woman at the gym. I remember one woman was staring me down. She actually spoke fluent English, so I came up to her, I said hi, and then she spoke fluent English, and she was fire, slim, thick. Oh, nice. Yeah. So I mean, that's one of the best places. I met a lot of play. There's a nightclub called like Casa Black. It's pretty getting pretty popular. I met this nice chick there, but I actually don't think you can find that quality woman in night game even in Brazil. I think the best place is like if you can do it during daytime, the beach is some of the perfect times, or even when you're doing tourist events or even the gym or a restaurant, you're always going to get stares because you're just foreign. So I think just having the confidence in saying to the bang, to the bang, whatever you know, and then majority of times if you have charisma, you have a good smile, like they'll take time to try and understand what you're saying, but you do have to use your gestures, your body language, and then you gotta pull out the translator. But try and learn Portuguese if you can, or they don't speak that much Spanish there. Yeah. Um. So on Hinge, so I know a lot of guys were using a Hinge. I don't think it was that good, but what they were doing, they was meeting American chicks from Hinge. I don't know if you guys want to do that, but I mean, when American chicks are overseas, they're going crazy. But I don't think I don't think that's what guys came here to talk about. And then Tinder, I used Tinder, but nothing I think something fell through the first time, but I was there for much longer. The second time, nothing really came from Tinder. I was doing mainly in person and then I ran Instagram ads. So that's what I do to meet a lot of chicks. So I run Instagram ads. I have a special way of doing it, but like women would just start DMing you. And so that's how I met a good amount of shorties from there. So that's how I used to do online. But Tinder, Hinge, what other apps do they use? Like the online dating thing is like it's such a American thing to do. Like it's like a Western culture thing. But overseas, people just meet each other in person. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. A lot of people don't do that. Huh? Yeah. A lot of guys don't do it. It's a lost art. Well, I mean, I understand why. Yeah. What? Oh, jobs? Um, so I don't think a guy should go to the country to work there. I'm actually against that. Well, not against that. I don't think it's a smart move. I think the smarter move is if you can get your money online. So one of the best ways to do it, yeah, one of the best ways to do it is do tech. Tech is it's not going to be an easy process to get into tech as everyone says, but it's not an easy process to move overseas either. We do it, take a sacrifice for a year and then get a tech job and try and go overseas. So I think that's one of the best way. Or or if you have a job right now, try and figure out how you can get an online business. So one of my close friends that used to live in Brazil, he lives in Thailand now. He has disability from the army, and now he's doing YouTube too. So that's how he's making his revenue. I know another guy. Some of the guys would just stack up all their money and then go there for like 2 months. But most of the guys who I know are true passport bros. They're actually in sales or they're in tech or they're doing something online. So I think that's what I recommend. The reason, let me touch back on your point. The reason why I say I don't think a guy should go try and get money in Brazil is because like you're gonna get paid in their local currency, and then two, you're not even gonna be a citizen. So it's like it's gonna be harder for you to get a job, and their local currency is not gonna be as much as you could if you could figure out a way how to make it in the states. Yeah. So I think all guys just try and get into tech, man. Yeah. I mean, IT is tech. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the route they'd be going. They're going IT. Yeah. Give me 1 second. So when I was in Sao Paulo, a lot of I was actually meeting some like, yo, it was crazy. We went to like some of the biggest nightclubs, and so the guys I knew they were cool down there. But I was meeting guys, and then I'll be talking to them. They'd be like, "Yo, take down my Instagram." I take down Instagram. Got 1 million followers on Instagram. Shit was crazy. But yeah, I was meeting a couple of celebrities that way in Brazil. But a lot of times too, if you're in Sao Paulo and the woman can speak fluent English, they actually come from a richer family. In Rio, I can't say I met too many rich Brazilians, but yeah, I can't really say I have. But in Sao Paulo for sure. But it's not really something you talk about. And one of the reasons why I said I don't really I prefer Rio over Sao Paulo because I think Sao Paulo has so many rich Brazilians that you're competing with rich Brazilians that you're depending where you go to, your American card really doesn't matter as much because they're still hella rich Brazilian. Like that nightclub I went to, where there's guys with millions of followers, you're competing with them, and they can speak the language. So I mean, yeah, there are negative traits. I don't want to get too much into it because I mean, there's gonna be negative traits anywhere. So one actual situation I ran into, I was in Rio and then I was just walking and some old white guy, 6 years old, is staring me down, looking crazy at me. I look back, I was like, oh, is this by accident? So I go get a food, he's staring. So I look back at him and then he's staring me down. I know he wants beef. So I'm like, bruh, I'm in Brazil. I don't need no trouble. Let me just walk away. So I walk away. He gets up. He stares me down. So I know he's looking. So he knows I'm looking at him. And then I keep on walking and he's staring me down, trying to follow me. I'm like, bro, are you serious? So I just didn't turn back. But he eventually stopped. But I'm like, what you can tell is like, is that he's mad. We're Americans. We're coming down there and we have way more money, way more opportunities. And we're coming down there. It's almost like a jealousy. But certain cases like that, it's not going to happen every time you go out. And same thing can happen when you're in America. Same thing can happen anywhere. Like I went to school in Baltimore. Like there's tons of negative stuff that happen in Baltimore, right? So it's like just pick and choose, and you have just have street smart. Like a lot of guys I know, if they were like, "Yo, I can beat him up, I can do this." A lot of guys are trying to be like, "Yo, go talk to him or say something." And what ends up happening? You get in a fight in Brazil, and then you end up in Brazilian jail. Yeah. So negative stuff is going to happen. I mean, I don't want to get too much into negatives. We can if you want to, but yeah, negatives. Yeah. What? Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, it's a third world country. I think if someone has the opportunity, they're going to take it. Um, I'm trying to think of any danger I've been into. I can. I try to stay street smart as much as possible, but it's anywhere. Like one thing a lot of people do when they go to Brazil, they go to a place called the favelas, right? And the favelas is basically just the more poor areas in the country, right? So I mean, I never like the concept of people would go tour other people's poverty when you're from America. I don't really like that concept. But like even going there, I heard it's safe, but like why would I go to a necessarily impoverished area and put myself in a position where something could happen? I mean, nothing's gonna happen, but like you get what I'm saying? You're putting yourself in a position where it's possible. Or then even like I don't wear earrings. I try not to wear jewelry because I've heard so many stories where people just snatch your jewelry, people just snatch your chain. And I heard you can't wear Apple watches out there because people will snatch it. I mean, like certain stuff like that, you're putting yourself in danger. It's still a third world country. And your opportunity for anybody. So those are kind of the dangers. And then what's another I what's another danger? I mean, just don't. It's like anywhere in America. You're in a dangerous spot. You're in a dangerous spot. Don't be walking late at night. Like in Brazil, I try to catch an Uber. I try not to walk too late at night, and I try not to be lit screaming. I try not to be the center of attention, and I try not to flash tons of money. If you're doing that, of course you're gonna get robbed. And then I did hear a story of like people pickpocketing. That's pretty big. And then one of my friends told me like he had his iPhone out and then a guy with a motorcycle came and snatched his phone. And he came out the car, started chasing the guy, and then basically caught up to the guy. But he said the guy, he didn't have the iPhone. So I think they had a whole operation where they're on a motorcycle, they snatched the phone, and then they give it off to someone else. And so if you ever catch him, you don't have the phone. So certain situation like that. So you have to be a lot more cautious. If I'm in an Uber, I'm rolling up my window. If I have cash, I'm not showing tons of cash. I'm not wearing much jewelry. Like when I go out, I usually wear rings, jewelry. I have a chain. I have a bigger chain than this. I'm not wearing that in Brazil. Try not to be flashy. I don't wear too much designer. In Sao Paulo, you can actually wear some designer stuff. It's a lot safer. But that phone thing was actually in Sao Paulo. So I just try not to be flashy, try not to cause attention, try not to be drunk for yeah. So that's what I recommend for any guys. It's but I mean, I could say the same thing about Baltimore. Yeah. But yeah. I would say just it's opportunity. So if someone has an opportunity, they're gonna take it. Yeah. Religion, man. I didn't go there talking to women about religion, but I'm gonna keep it honest. I actually have no idea. I think it's a mainly Christian country, but Brazilians are they're pretty liberal. I would say that from what I've seen. And yeah, the more you go towards modern day society, I think the less religious you are. Yeah, so I can't say I couldn't tell you I've how religious they were. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I mean, I do think it's probably more conservative than America, but like is definitely you can see a lot of like the liberal. Yeah, I can definitely see like in 10 years, I definitely for sure. I have no question about that for sure. Um, I think if you start going to more of like the outskirts, the cities, and you start speaking the actual language, I think you're gonna have a different experience because you open up way more options. So, but it's it's pretty level, but I mean, it's like that in America. I mean, that's but remember at the beginning of the of stream, I said like that's why I said like if we're looking for a solid wife, I would lean towards like a Muslim or Asian, maybe. Yeah. What kind of stories you asking for? Um, let me. Yeah, I just on the fly. I should have thought about some stories before I even hop on the live stream. Yeah, I can't even think of one right now. Actually, I'll be honest. I told a few stories earlier. I'll tell. No, I'll tell some as the live goes on. Yeah, I'll say like if you're going to Brazil, just try it out. I think it's a lovely city. Try and learn a little bit of Portuguese before you go. That's probably one of my biggest recommendations. But stay in Rio de Janeiro, stay in Sao Paulo, or stay in or go to Beira de Juca or what do I say? What is it? Salvador Bahia. So those are some of the best places to go in Brazil. And it's honestly, once you go there, you might fall in love. So we'll see, man. Yeah. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Hmm. Um, just in general, or if they wanted to become. So in general, I think you should one focus as everyone says, focus on yourself. If you're in your early 20s, man, try and get your physique as great as possible because that's when you have the highest bit of testosterone. And then two is going to be easier for you to keep it in your late 20s. And that's actually the best way to actually want to increase your dating life, increase your physique. And then number two is figure out a way how to make some money. As far as like, I recommend going into tech. I recommend going to IT. Because you can just you can stay down and get some certifications for a year and then be good. Or you can even go to a 4 year university and then get a job outside of tech. The thing about tech, what ends up happening is you can get a remote job if you put yourself in the right position and you can go overseas. Now your money goes longer. I think you should focus on saving, building your physique, get your fashion up. You don't necessarily have to be the most fashionable, but if you have a good physique, you can wear fitted clothing and always look nice. And as far as dating, I don't agree with how people say. I actually don't even call myself a passport bro because I'm only out the country for 2 weeks a year. So I'm not a passport bro. I live in America. So I do think guys should work on their dating skills while in America because one thing you will say, I do think women are the same everywhere. So if you go into Brazil, you think she's super submissive, but all she wants you is for your money, and she's actually a horrible woman. You won't really know unless you've had experience in America. And then also like there's a huge language barrier. So like the nonverbals that you learn from talking to a woman in person in America is going to translate over there. Okay. And then you actually going to learn skills how to be a leader, how to set up the date, how to plan. I do think it's easier overseas, but I do think it's valuable for a man to learn dating while he's young and broke. And I'm a dating coach, so I appreciate it. So that's one advice. So the advice is focus on the four F's: fashion, fitness, features, and finesse. So and then your finance, man, try and get to. You don't necessarily need 100K, but that should try to be the goal to try and get to 100K. You can do that. Get a tech job straight out of college. Try and see if you can make 67, 70K, or try and get a certification, see if you can make 60, 70K. Stay there for a year, move up, get to 80, 90. Stay there for a year, move up, get 100K, try and get remote, and go overseas. Now you have a great lifestyle. And then for long term wise, it's just as long as you don't get a woman pregnant and don't get a felony, you'll be fine. And don't go broke. That's my Yeah, how Dom DeMarco. Don DeMarco. How old are you, by the way? Yeah, 25. Yeah, I'm only 27, so I'm still in my 20s, and you can kind of see like what you've done in like I was saying like 3 year period. So what I did from 18 to 22, what I did at 18 paid off at 22. What I did at 22 paid off at like what 25, 26. And what I'm doing right now, I'm setting my lifestyle up for a way where I'm going to be good once I hit 30, and then from 30 on, it's we'll see how it goes. I disagree. I don't. So I don't like how guys say the male advantage, the male peak. The reason why I say that, the reason why I say that is because what you learn in your older it's so let's say you're 30 and you want to date a 22, 24-year old. It's going to be a lot easier to meet a 22-year or 24-year-old when you're 25 or you're 24 and you're in that same group. You're naturally going to be able to meet them. And why the hell do I want to wait till I'm 30 before I start having dating results? Or even like 30, like guys are making money right now at 24, 25. I mean, how much you gonna making at 30? What, of six figures? 150, right? Guys are making that at 24, 22. You go work for Google straight out of college, you're making, huh? What about making that much money? You're saying guys aren't or they are? Yeah, exactly. And then like you can once you get fit, if you get fit, you're gonna be good. So like the male advantage, I've always thought, why the hell do I want to wait till I'm 30 before I start having success? And then even at 30 is like, are you really who you going to be meeting at 30? You going to meet the 20, 24, 25 year olds? Like you're not even going to one, they might have gone through a whole phase already. And then if you try and talk to a 22-year old, you're still not going to be at that same mental. Are you even going to want to talk to a 22-year old at that point? So I mean, my mindset is I'm trying to get it. I mean, delayed gratification. I stay down. I have a strict schedule and I got to get into my peak, but why can't I do that now? Yeah. Yeah. So, you guys can go on my YouTube channel. It's Prince O. So I try to drop 2 videos a week, dropping daily shorts. So, but my main focus is men's lifestyle, teaching guys dating advice and how you can maximize your life in general. If it's going overseas or if it's how you can start dating, have more dating options. So you can find me there, and then also check out my Instagram at Prince O Lifestyle. So I've been just posting content, so you guys can always find me and reach out to me. So yeah, guys, that's where everyone can find me. All right, peace, bro.